Is that over?
This is Rachel Zegler. Her incredibly off-putting personality is not the only thing you will get out of Rachel Zegler while talking to her. She will remind you that she hates Snow White.
Ever seen a Disney movie flop so badly it becomes a legendary internet meme overnight? Well, buckle up because the Snow White live-action disaster just made history. And Rachel Zegler is getting absolutely roasted for it. Seriously, people are calling it the worst box office disaster Disney has ever faced. And when even Joe Rogan jumps into the chaos just to mock it mercilessly, you know it's bad. Trust me, the internet is exploding right now.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
And if you're feeling confused or even a little curious, you're not alone. Because this story goes way deeper than a simple box office flop, and the drama behind the scenes is way juicier than anyone could have imagined. If you thought Rachel Zegler's situation couldn't possibly get worse, just wait until you see what happened next. Disney's new live-action Snow White was supposed to be their next blockbuster hit. Another classic turned billion-dollar franchise, right? Well, turns out it didn't just miss the mark. It tanked spectacularly. We're talking record-breaking losses, box office numbers so embarrassingly low, they almost seem fake.
And she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Critics didn't just pan it. Audiences outright rejected it. Disney's beloved princess remake quickly turned into one of the biggest financial nightmares in Hollywood history, making headlines everywhere for all the wrong reasons. And it wasn't just the money. Oh no. This flop triggered an online firestorm so intense it practically broke the internet. But how did something so promising become such a massive disaster? Well, the answer might have something to do with Rachel Zegler, whose casting and comments have fans absolutely fuming.
This is Rachel Zegler. Her incredibly off-putting personality is not the only thing you will get out of Rachel Zegler while talking to her. She will remind you that she hates Snow White.
From the moment Rachel Zegler was announced as Snow White, people had doubts. Sure, she had talent, but something just felt off. Fans quickly voiced skepticism online, criticizing Disney's choice as out of touch, and questioning if Zegler truly captured what audiences loved about the iconic princess. But instead of calming the storm, Rachel made things worse with some eyebrow-raising comments during interviews. She openly criticized the original Snow White story, calling it outdated, problematic, and even implied Disney's classic princess needed a modern update.
I never wanted to come off as me being ungrateful for the opportunities I have. I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats.
Social media erupted, accusing her of disrespecting the legacy she was hired to carry forward. Suddenly, Rachel wasn't just controversial. She became the face of Disney's looming disaster. And as if things couldn't escalate further, one man entered the scene and turned this messy situation into absolute chaos: Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan stepped into the conversation, things got savage, fast.
Congrats on the film. How does it feel to finally have it come out?
Feels wonderful.
On his podcast, Rogan didn't hold back, openly mocking Disney's failed Snow White remake and mercilessly roasting Rachel Zegler's controversial takes. He jokingly called out Disney for destroying their own classics, laughing in disbelief at just how badly they missed the mark. Rogan's brutal honesty resonated instantly, and within hours, clips of his commentary blew up across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Fans ate it up, sharing his savage takedowns, and soon the whole internet seemed to rally behind his criticism. Joe's biting humor and blunt delivery struck a chord, perfectly echoing the frustration many fans felt about Disney's recent trend of disappointing remakes. But Rogan's mocking didn't just amplify the backlash, it sparked an online frenzy that quickly turned personal for Rachel Zegler. Fans didn't just agree with Joe Rogan, they took his words and ran wild. Social media exploded with memes, TikToks, and tweets brutally dragging Rachel Zegler into the spotlight as the villain of Disney's flop.
Snow White by the Brothers Grimm. Great little fairy tale. Yeah. Leave it as is. You don't like it, make your own one.
It's not been rewritten, though.
It has been rewritten.
When Rachel says, so we're not doing that this time.
Trending hashtags like "You Cancel Zegler" and "Disney Disaster" dominated feeds as fans blamed her directly for ruining a beloved classic. TikTok creators flooded the platform with parody skits, mocking Rachel's controversial interviews and her modern Snow White vision. On Twitter, viral posts sarcastically thanked Rachel for single-handedly destroying Disney's legacy, racking up millions of views and likes. Disney remained silent, leaving Rachel alone at the center of an unstoppable digital storm. But as intense as this backlash got, it turned out there was even more drama happening behind the scenes, hidden chaos that Rachel and Disney desperately didn't want fans to see. As the internet roasted Rachel Zegler relentlessly, leaks from inside Disney suddenly began spilling out, revealing even deeper trouble behind the scenes. Insiders hinted at intense clashes on set, creative disagreements, and even alleged tension between Rachel and Disney's own production team. Anonymous reports surfaced, suggesting Rachel had been pushing back aggressively on key script decisions, causing massive friction among directors and writers.
Rachel Zegler, who stars as Snow White, condemned Prince Charming as weird and a stalker, adding that she hates the original. Nice start. Leaked photos from a set revealed that the 7 dwarves had been sensationally axed, replaced by multiracial, gender non-specific, magical humans.
You know what? Maybe Disney does. Maybe you're a tool, you're a pawn in this film. You didn't write it, you didn't direct it, you have nothing to do with the creation of Snow White. Right. You should shut up and do the job.
Rumors spread that production was chaotic, filled with delays, rewrites, and last-minute panic, all centered around Rachel's controversial vision for the film. And when these whispers hit the headlines, fans felt validated, certain this behind-the-scenes mess explained exactly why the movie bombed so hard. But instead of laying low and letting the storm pass, Rachel made a decision to respond publicly. Only she didn't realize she was about to make things 1,000 times worse. Instead of quieting the controversy, Rachel jumped straight into damage control mode, and it backfired spectacularly. In a series of emotional social media posts, live stream explanations, and tense defensive interview moments, she desperately tried to clarify her intentions, accusing critics and fans alike of misunderstanding or deliberately twisting her words. Rachel insisted people were taking her statements completely out of context, even going as far as to suggest the backlash against her was exaggerated, unfair.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, just hit the unfollow button.
Wow, what a scene.
I don't need your business.
Wait, feminist Conor McGregor.
Who the fuck is that guy?
And orchestrated by people looking for drama, she attempted to appeal to sympathy, hinting at the emotional toll the situation had taken on her, and subtly suggesting that online critics were simply haters who didn't understand what she was trying to achieve. But rather than calming the storm, Rachel's explanations only intensified the outrage. Fans immediately flooded social media, labeling her as tone-deaf, dismissive, arrogant, and utterly disconnected from reality.
Interpret people's feelings about this film as passion for it, and what an honor to be able to be part of something that people are so passionate about. We're not always going to have the same feelings as everyone around us, meaning the entire viewing.
Yes.
And all we can do is put our best foot forward. By that you mean entitled and browbeating and proselytizing.
Twitter threads exploded with viral memes mocking her attempts at damage control. TikTok creators made parody skits reenacting her defensive interviews, and Instagram reels poking fun at her emotional pleas quickly garnered millions of views. Popular influencers and commentary channels also jumped into the fray, calling out Rachel for trying to shift blame onto fans and painting herself as an innocent victim rather than taking accountability for her own controversial choices. Even entertainment journalists began openly questioning Rachel's judgment, criticizing her public relations strategy as disastrous and self-sabotaging. The more Rachel attempted to explain herself, the deeper she seemed to dig the hole. Every statement she made drew more intense scrutiny and harsher ridicule from an increasingly frustrated public. Suddenly, Rachel wasn't just facing angry moviegoers or disappointed Disney fans. She was at the center of a full-blown online firestorm that completely buried any chance of redemption or sympathy. Her reputation took hit after hit as the online narrative shifted from mere criticism of a failed film to an overwhelming personal backlash targeting Rachel herself. But just when everyone thought the controversy had reached its peak, Joe Rogan returned for round 2, and this time he didn't hold anything back. Joe Rogan wasn't done yet, not even close. After Rachel's disastrous attempt at damage control, Rogan returned to his podcast with another brutally hilarious takedown, mocking her excuses and openly questioning whether Disney had completely lost touch with reality. He didn't just lightly jab, he went all in, laughing off Rachel's claims about being misunderstood and sarcastically describing the entire scenario as watching Hollywood implode in real time. Rogan pointed out the irony of an actress who was supposed to embody a beloved Disney princess, instead becoming the focal point of one of the studio's worst disasters, emphasizing how disconnected Hollywood has become from what fans actually care about. And fans didn't just agree. They rallied behind Rogan's commentary in a massive second wave. Memes flooded Instagram and Twitter, reaction videos went viral on TikTok, and fan-created compilations highlighting Rachel's missteps alongside Rogan's savage critiques racked up millions of views overnight. The backlash intensified, becoming even more relentless and widespread than before. Rogan's blunt but relatable style captured precisely what audiences had been feeling for years, an overwhelming frustration toward Hollywood's constant mishandling of classic movies. People weren't just entertained by Rogan's jokes, they felt heard, understood, and validated by his brutally honest takes. But beneath the laughs and mockery, something deeper emerged. Rogan's commentary perfectly summarized a growing sentiment across the internet: exhaustion and disappointment with Disney's endless cycle of failed live-action remakes. With Rachel's image now thoroughly damaged and Disney scrambling to recover from one of the worst PR nightmares in recent memory, a bigger question began looming over fans and industry insiders alike. Was this controversy just a temporary setback, or did it finally expose cracks in Disney's strategy? Cracks so deep that they might signal the beginning of the end for Disney's legendary era of live-action remakes? This disaster wasn't just another forgettable flop. It might have permanently scarred Disney's legacy and Rachel Zegler's career in one devastating blow. Industry insiders now speculate that Rachel's future in Hollywood could be seriously jeopardized, with studios reportedly hesitant to cast her after witnessing the intense backlash and relentless mockery she's faced online. Agents, executives, and filmmakers alike are said to be wary, worried that Rachel might now be seen as box office poison, a label that's notoriously hard to shake. Meanwhile, the crisis at Disney has escalated far beyond what anyone initially imagined. The studio is scrambling, reportedly reconsidering, delaying, or even outright canceling several planned live-action remakes to avoid repeating the catastrophic mistakes of Snow White. Internal leaks suggest there's genuine panic among top executives, fearful that the public's brutal rejection of Rachel and the film represents a deeper shift in audience expectations, one that Disney may have ignored for far too long. Rumors of closed-door meetings, desperate strategy shifts, and frantic attempts at damage control are everywhere, hinting that Disney's legendary confidence might be crumbling under the pressure. Critics and analysts alike are openly questioning whether the company has finally lost its way, becoming so disconnected from fans that they can no longer predict or even understand audience desires. With each passing day, the internet only grows louder, increasingly skeptical about whether Disney can pull itself out of this hole. But the stakes here go beyond one actress or one failed film. It's about the trust and loyalty built over decades with millions of Disney fans worldwide. People aren't just frustrated, they're feeling betrayed, worried that their favorite classics are being carelessly sacrificed for quick cash grabs and shallow, modern updates. Now everyone's left wondering, is this the wake-up call Disney finally needed? Or is it already too late to save the sinking ship? Can Disney pivot and win audiences back? Or is their era of blockbuster remakes officially over? Disney's Snow White wasn't just another failed remake. It evolved into a full-blown Hollywood catastrophe, fueled by Rachel Zegler's controversial statements, Joe Rogan's relentless mockery, and an online firestorm that refuses to die down. And now the controversy is bigger than box office numbers or bad press. It's become a question of Disney's fundamental credibility. Has this fiasco finally exposed Hollywood's deeper disconnect from everyday fans? Has the entertainment giant lost sight of what truly resonates with audiences? As Disney reels from its greatest PR nightmare in years, the fate of Rachel Zegler's career and Disney's legendary remake empire hangs in the balance. So now, the real question remains. Can they recover? Or have Rachel and Disney crossed a line from which there's no return? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Disney and Rachel Zegler have what it takes to bounce back? Or are we watching the beginning of their downfall unfold in real time?